When the original Pitbabe series debuted, it took audiences by surprise with its unique blend of dark comedy, psychological drama, and raw storytelling. Its success was largely driven by gritty realism, well-developed characters, and a bold narrative tone. Naturally, expectations were high for Pitbabe 2, but the sequel ended up being a major disappointment for fans and critics alike. Here's a breakdown of why Pitbabe 2 failed to replicate the success of its predecessor. One of the most glaring issues with Pitbabe 2 was its confused storyline. The plot felt rushed, disjointed, and underdeveloped. The original season ended on a strong emotional and psychological note, leaving audiences expecting a deeper dive into the main character's trauma and growth. Instead, Pitbabe 2 seemed to abandon the core emotional weight that made the first season compelling. Rather than evolving organically, the sequel relied on forced drama and illogical twists that broke the immersion. Plot holes and lack of continuity with the first season frustrated loyal fans. Questions from Season 1 remained unanswered, and new ones were introduced without explanation, giving the entire sequel an incoherent feel. One of the original strengths was the complex character arcs, especially the lead. In Pitbabe 2, these characters seemed like weaker versions of themselves. Their motivations became unclear, and their emotional journeys stagnated or were reversed entirely. Some characters that were central in the first part were either removed without explanation or had their personalities completely changed, which alienated fans. New characters introduced in Pitbabe 2 didn't have the same emotional depth or relevance. They felt like filler, and their presence often distracted from the main narrative instead of enriching it. Another major reason for the show's decline was the change in cast dynamics. Some of the beloved original actors were replaced or sidelined, and the new actors lacked the chemistry that fans adored in Season 1. Particularly in BL, Boys Love, or emotionally intense series, on-screen chemistry between lead actors is critical. Pitbabe 2 simply didn't deliver on this front. The original pairing, whose emotional bond carried much of the tension and heart of the first season, was barely explored or was written off entirely. This left fans feeling disconnected and disappointed. Pitbabe 2 also suffered from poor pacing. Episodes dragged on without meaningful progress, while important scenes felt rushed or skipped altogether. Some subplots were stretched out unnecessarily, while others were introduced and dropped suddenly. The direction lacked the grit and tight focus that gave Season 1 its unique tone. It tried to be darker and edgier, but ended up being overly dramatic and inconsistent. Audiences felt confused about what kind of show they were watching. Was it a drama? A psychological thriller? A romance? It didn't clearly commit to any genre. One of the biggest mistakes the creators made was ignoring the core fan base. Fans had strong emotional attachments to certain characters and relationships that were completely disregarded in the sequel. Instead of respecting the emotional investment of the viewers, Pitbabe 2 took a very different turn, possibly in an attempt to be fresh or shocking, but this backfired. There was also a sense that the creators didn't listen to feedback. Many fans had hoped for closure, emotional healing, or at least consistent development, but the second season offered none of that. After the premiere, the show received poor reviews from critics and fans alike. Viewer ratings dropped drastically after just a few episodes. Social media was flooded with negative comments, disappointed reactions, and even calls to boycott the series. Popular fan pages that had once praised Pitbabe were now openly criticizing it. The show trended for the wrong reasons, often becoming the subject of memes and negative TikTok edits. Another noticeable downgrade in Pitbabe 2 was the production value. The original had a raw but effective visual style that matched the tone of the story. In contrast, Season 2 felt rushed, with cheap sets, inconsistent lighting, and choppy editing. Sound design and background scores were also criticized. In emotionally heavy scenes, the music felt mismatched, taking away from the impact. In some scenes, even the audio syncing appeared off, which pointed toward a lack of polish in post production. Many fans and critics feel that Pit Baby 2 was not made out of a creative desire to extend the story, but rather to cash in on the success of the first season. It lacked the soul and authenticity that made the original stand out. When a sequel is made without a strong creative vision, it often ends up feeling hollow. And that's exactly what happened here. Sequels are always compared to their predecessors, and Pit Baby 2 was no exception. Unfortunately, the bar set by the first season was so high, Tadum,